We have another catalyst, another big catalyst coming our way, not next week, because we already know that next week is going to be a potential huge gamma squeeze with all the options already in the money closed. I mean, in the money as we close towards $50 a share. Now, guys, there is another potential big catalyst coming the week after that, that will potentially really trigger the short squeeze if it's not already triggered by the gamma squeeze. Let's get into it. Well, we all know there is a rule named the NSCC 002 rule. That is a rule that has been implemented by this federal agency, part of the SEC, proposing an enhancement of the management of liquidity risk that are arising or are bound to be calculated and collecting, if applicable, due to pretty much they are raising the way or enhancing the way they will collect, the liquidity deposits in terms of requirements for their members, which we know are banks and hedges, like Citadel, not to fall into default, pretty much not paying what they have to pay because they are so overextended. Well, this is what they're saying. The proposed change will establish an intraday SLD, supplemental liquidity deposits obligation, that will apply in advance of options expiry activity and may be applicable on any business day as needed. The proposal will also implement an alternative pro rata calculation of members' SLD obligations that may apply in certain circumstances. Finally, in connection with this proposed change, the NSCC will simplify and improve the description of the calculation, the collection, and the treatment of the SLD in rule. But pretty much, guys, in simple language, the NSCC, like the DTCC and the SEC, so many acronyms. They already know that the members are way overextended. Some of the members, not all of them. Like if you take Citadel, for example, they knew by shorting AMC is going to be a home run, like they did with Toys R Us or other retail stores that didn't shift quickly to the online payment or the online store before COVID, when COVID hit. So they went like all in. They borrowed as much as they could because they knew that it was done. All right, it was done. But they fell on the apes. A new bright rising to the stock market. Okay, and now this rule is not just for AMC stock, because if you look at the calendar, this rule started being discussed back in 2020, in May 2020. Okay, the changes were approved by the risk committee of the board of NSCC, in May 2020. Now it just happened that the whole AMC, short squeeze and GameStop were caught up in the middle, and I guess this kind of expedited the process with the SEC working on this thing. Okay, now here's how it's really important for this to pass, because it hasn't passed yet. All right, it hasn't passed yet. This will probably prevent the hedges from tricking the system, tricking the system in order to think like they are not that overextended, that they covered some of the positions they had through options that we seen the week after, a couple of days ago or last week. Well, this will change. This actual rule will change the whole game, because now every single day there's going to be an automatic process that will calculate how extended, how at risk you are. And if you are too much risk, then you're going to be required to add a supplemental liquidity deposit in order to prevent you from being at default or at risk. These guys know. They know that people like Citadel are already so extended. So it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. But again, guys, we have to keep in mind, this is the calendar. This rule is not approved yet. It was delayed back in May 2020. Okay, and we know that the next time the SEC is going to decide whether they're going to extend it or approve it is going to be June 21st. All right. So on June 21st, we're going to have that final decision. But it may be extended. But if it's not, then it's another big milestone that we have achieved, because we know that they have synthetic shares and naked shorts being used. So it's just, as I mentioned earlier, it's just a matter of time. When you look at all the option chain, all the calls already in the money for that specific period of time, if we have the gamma squeeze by then, man, this is just like the cherry at the top. This is like this is the end game. This is game over for the hedges. This is game over for Citadel. Okay, this will be it. This will be it. So we just have to keep our fingers crossed and wait for the thing to start. But if things go as planned for the gamma squeeze next week, maybe this wouldn't have even to pass for the short squeeze to happen. I just don't know.